like we were talking earlier, it's more about, their wants versus their needs. And a lot of my students that I met with, it was all about behaviors and mindset. They wanted to do it, they see it, and they understood it, but really, it was in changing behaviors for them. If they didn't change their behaviors and their mindset, they couldn't get to where they need to go. And all the stuff that they've learned in the class, if they didn't implement that, they wouldn't be able to go to financial success. They would be in the same position that they are today. So a lot of them came to me and said, you know what, I'm having a hard time changing my behaviors. And it's like, well, it's baby steps. You start off slow, go forward. So it's more about, for me, for them, and based on what they've told me, it was more about behaviors that it was hard for them to change.
Now, Joel Schwartz, I guess we heard a lot about the whole banking industry and with the recession and so forth. I guess how much blame can you put on the banks? Is it the banks' fault for all these credit problems, or is it equally on individuals? Or
I think it's really a mixture. On one hand, it's been decades in brewing with a lot of the regulations and the limits on the banks. For example, the deregulation has been happening for decades, and
easy
sort of
credit.
Easy credit. And in fact, we have a usury law in this state, but it only applies to banks that are registered in the state of Massachusetts. So many of the banks that operate in the state, in fact, are not subject to that law. And in fact, GBIO is working on those issues as well, because GBIO organizes people around a whole range of issues.
Now, Chris Pierre-Louis, a graduate of the Moving from Debt to Assets program. Tell me, what's the most important thing that you've learned after going through the program?
I have learned that I have the power to control my debt. The biggest, greatest gift they could have given me was to teach me to take control, because I needed to differentiate my needs and my wants when it came to my cable bill, and I was able to just be like, I don't need cable. And because I cut it off, now I'm able to start a security fund, more time with my family. So
Well, it really changed your life, it sounds like.
Oh, yes.
So, Nadita, tell me, I guess, so how can people get involved? I mean, where do they have these classes? Are they in various churches around and synagogues around the community, or is it a specific spot downtown? Or
it's not a specific spot anywhere. It's organized through GBIO, and it all depends on the church or the synagogue that the class is going to be through. And it's held, like my class was held in Dorchester at the community bank there in their room. So it's not like a set place, and people can get involved by going onto the website www.gbio.org and getting more information on that, or calling the number. But it's not any one set place. It's very diverse and throughout the whole Boston area.
How many classes are there? Is it a set number, or is it however much you need? Or
well, within the program there is 6 classes. There's also peer support groups within the program, and also there's 3 counseling sessions where they meet with the counselor myself. So.
Joel, I guess, how easy is it to achieve financial stability in one's own life, just for an average, regular person?
Well, I think we all can do it, but there's struggles, and you need a number of things. First of all, you need to have a plan, and you need information, and we, in our program, we certainly supply that, though there are many other programs out there. And you need help along the way, not just from experts certainly, but also people around you. You need to talk and get support and solve problems as a group, and we do that in our program.
And self-discipline also, because in order for this to really work for you, you have to, again, it's about behavior and really having an open mind to say, I want to change, I want a better future.
Now, when you started this program, what, 5-6 years ago, whatever it was, what kinds of things were you hearing that spurred you to start this program? What were you hearing from people?
Yeah. Well, what we in GBIO do to sort of get a sense of what issues people are concerned with is we hold small group meetings, and we ask them a question like, what keeps you up at night? What are the issues that are really eating at you? And this debt issue and struggles with money was coming up what was interesting, it was coming up as a desperate plea, but it wasn't coming, oh, just in the poor neighborhoods or just in the city neighborhood. It was coming out in the suburbs because we are greater Boston. It was coming out of every different religious denomination, every racial and ethnic group. It is a common struggle that so many of us have.
So it wasn't just low-income people. You may have low-income people.
We know that the middle class is getting hammered now, and it was 6 years ago, too.
Okay, and listen, Chris, I'll give you the last word here very briefly. I guess what would you like to say to everybody about managing their debt?
Basically, really make a plan and see what you need, what you want. Just weigh it out.
Okay, all right. Chris Pierre Lewis, Nadita Coveney, and Joel Schwartz, thanks for coming in. Moving from debt to assets. It sounds like you guys are doing a great job, and good luck with the program.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, and we'll continue on our financial discussions here. How secure are your retirement plans? What can you do today to take control of your financial future? Well, my next guest has some very valid answers which may change your life. When Urban Update returns, Ken Carmen tells us how to reclaim your nest egg. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, this may be the most important phone call you'll ever make.
I owed $50,000 in taxes. But listen.
Your tax problem is settled. You only owe $8,400.
What a great message.
I owed $13,000 on my taxes. But now?
Congratulations. You only owe $3,048.
How's that sound?
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, then you owe it to yourself to call this number or go to tax10000.com. Even if you're already at the point where you're struggling with levies and garnishments, let our experts help guide you through the process of negotiating a tax settlement.
We owe the IRS $28,000.
But check out what we actually paid.
Are you sitting down? You only owe $5,772.
Call toll-free 888-897-4319 or go to tax10000.com. 888-897-4319.
Rain or shine, whatever the weather, 7 has you covered.
With nearly 3 decades of experience in the securities and personal finance industries, Ken Kamen is a nationally recognized financial expert and advisor. He's got a long resume, consultant and advisor in Washington. Currently, Mr. Kamen is the president of Mercadian Asset Management, which offers comprehensive wealth management consulting services to individuals, families, and business owners. His latest project is his book, Reclaim Your Nest Egg, Take Control of Your Financial Future. It's about making a realistic assessment of your own financial situation and going back to basics, understanding how things got away from you in the first place and figuring out how to get your financial life back together. Welcome to Urban Update, Ken. Thanks for coming in. Ken, well, tell me about your book. I guess what's the most important or common mistake that you've come across that you try to address in this book? The biggest lesson.
Well, the biggest lesson I think is that people really have the power to shape their own financial future. As we've seen in the prior segments you just did, that early in your career it's all about acquiring things. And many times in acquiring things, debt gets out of hand because maybe you want more than you could afford. But as you get older, it really becomes about managing for the long run. You know, in the financial world, it's really a marathon, not a sprint. And a lot of people are kind of sucked in, if you will, by all the financial advertising that, you know, what they need in life is better performance. What they need is this special product. What they need is the services of one financial institution to get them to the finish line. And what I found in my career, having counseled people for decades, is that the things they really think are important about their financial futures really aren't those things. And that's what I try to write a book about, to enlighten people about the types of things they really should be looking at.
Give me an example of something that people might think is important that really isn't, and something that is important that they don't think about.
Performance. I mean, the whole financial services industry is based on this idea of my analyst can beat up your analyst. Our 5-year track record is this, and we can get you 6.8%, and they only got you 5%. Well, when you really think about it, over the long run, whether you're going to get 7% on your money or 6% on your money is probably not going to be the difference of whether you run out of dollars before you run out of heartbeats.
When you start seriously thinking about retirement, what's the first thing you should think about when you're in your, say, 30s or 40s, or even though you should probably think about this when you're in your 20s, but what are the key things that you should really start thinking about when you're trying to plan for retirement?
Well, the first thing I tell people is you have to pay your future self. When you get that paycheck, when you get that raise, make sure that there's some money going away somewhere to take care of your future. Because believe me, the 70-year-old you, if they had the opportunity to talk to the current you, would be begging you to put money away. Because what people find is that their lifestyles keep increasing, and no one has this image of a reduced lifestyle when they get into retirement. But yet, if you don't have the financial assets to get you there, that's going to become a reality. And unfortunately, a lot of people tune into the media and think that the media is covering markets, when in reality, the media is basically covering volatility. And that's one of the things that kind of screws people into the ground, as I say, because who would hold on to anything long term if you thought that there was bad news coming next week on something? Or you might hear that Apple has a glitch in their new iPod or whatever it is, and then might force you to come out of a security. So the whole idea of telling people that it's a long run, and what I try to concentrate on the book is having people look at all the financial things that affect their life over a very long period of time, because things don't need to be done so quickly.
Does everyone need a financial advisor, and how do you find one?
Well, no. Not everyone needs a financial advisor, but I think what everyone needs is to have a basic understanding of what goes into constructing a sound financial plan. Just the way your family trusts you to drive a car, when they get in the back seat and with you, they trust that you know what a stoplight means, you know what the stop sign means, you know the rules of the road. Well, your family and your loved ones are counting on you to know the basics of running money. So the point of my book is to help people with the basics, to understand the fundamentals, and not just about performance. It's not getting caught up in what the media has to say, because the media is covering volatility. They're covering the story of today, not the story of 20 years from now when you're going to need your money. You want to also make sure that you're not being sold financial products that don't suit your long-term needs. If there's one thing that came out of the recent blow-up on Wall Street is a lot of the products were sold in the best interest of the guys selling them to you rather than you. So you need to know enough so that when someone says something, I always say, like to use the analogy, you know when your dog is lying on the ground and something you didn't hear happens outside, he goes, huh? Think about that. When you should know enough about your financial life that when someone's telling you something and it's so wrong, you go, huh? Did you just say? Because if you don't have that basic, you're not going to be armed to be able to ask the right questions.
How bad were investors hurt? When I say investors, I'm talking more about people planning for retirement and so forth in this last recession with the big blow up on Wall Street.
Investors were tremendously hurt, but probably not for the reason most viewers would think. Sure, everyone knows everyone's assets went down, but what really crushed them was the lack of confidence. That's where everyone got hurt, because they believed they were doing all the right things. I had been saving every month, I put my money away, I've been adding wood to the pile, if you will, and then all of a sudden, they told me this whole thing is a game. It's a Ponzi scheme. There are guys like Bernie Madoff that could just steal everything away. That's where people really got hurt. Their confidences got shaken at a time in their life where they needed it the most.
And very briefly, I guess, what's the most important thing you want people to take away from your book?
That they have the power to run their financial lives, but it all comes down to knowing what to do. I wrote a why-to book, not a how-to book. It's more important to understand why you should do something than to understand the specifics of any one investment vehicle.
Okay, Ken Kamen, he's the author. The book is Reclaim Your Nest Egg, Take Control of Your Financial Future. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's it for this edition of Urban Update. If you'd like more information about this program, you can go to our website at WHDH.com and click on Urban Update. I'd like to thank my guests for coming in, and as always, thank you for watching. Until next week, I'm Byron Barnett for Urban Update. Have a great Sunday, everyone.